why posting your kids online is not inherently bad. There's a lot of difference of opinion. If this is your first time catching me live, I'm Cyber Frida. I have a background in cybersecurity awareness, threat intelligence, and online gaming, and I've been working with parents and teens around protecting kids online for a very long time now. And this discussion has been like one of the top discussions, I believe, on social media when it comes to online safety. And I feel like we're having really good discussions. We're getting a lot of traction because more people are becoming aware that you can't just post your kids online randomly, willy-nilly, and then not think about the consequences of it. There's privacy consequences, security consequences, and safety consequences. And so, yes, when you post your kids online, you have to be super mindful. But I believe the discussion that we're having in public, in a general rule, I feel like we need to have more nuanced discussions about this. So I decided let's go live and let's talk about this. Number one, the biggest thing is don't post your kids online on public accounts. And so everyone's natural, innocent, completely fine, I agree solution is okay, then why not just post pictures of your kids on a private account? Now, the problem with this is that most people's private account isn't as private as they think, right? So you have a private account, you're posting your kids online on that private account, but you have no idea who is in your private account. Who are your friends? Are they sharing your photos? You still may be sharing photos that are impacting your child's safety, their security, their privacy, because you're not aware of what you are sharing on your profiles. So let's say, as a general rule, you don't want to share pictures of your kids in a bath or partially like unclothed, right? Or unclothed completely, or in a swimming pool. And so if you have a private profile, you're more likely to share that photo because you're thinking, well, this isn't a public profile. I'm just gonna share this really cute moment that happened at bath time and I'm gonna share it with my friends and family member. Well, there's somebody who's in your friends list who you don't actually know, or someone who you do know that you really love and you trust, but they take that picture, they screenshot it, they share that picture with someone outside of who you want it to see when you shared that original photo. And that's why it's so important to have these conversations in a more nuanced way. And it's challenging to have it on social media because sometimes with a quick, short video, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, even like 2 to 3 minutes, you really can't get all of your full points across. Like even for me in my social media, when I add videos around the pictures to not share of your kids, I can't really add all of the nuances that I want to within the conversation. So I've made a lot of posts about this. One of my most recent posts was, let me see the title of it. I pulled it up so I can have it here. Okay. Posting your kids' pictures on private accounts is not as safe as you think. And I gave a couple of examples and I'm going to go over everything that I said. The number one thing is you're more likely to still post pictures of your kids that does not have their privacy in mind. So we gave that first example. The second one is you're less likely to ask your child for consent when you are taking the picture, because whether the picture is being taken and you're sending it to your mother-in-law or your father-in-law, or you're sending it to a friend, or it's a private profile, you still want to ask your kids for consent. Remember, if you're trying to protect your kids online, you want to model the behaviors you're teaching them. So if you want your child to ask other people for consent, if you want your child to know that other people should ask them for consent before they post pictures of your child online, then you have to show them how to do that. You have to be the first person to do that. Now, at what age do you ask for consent? The typical beginning age is 7 years old. You can go as young as 5 years old if you feel like, hey, they're ready for that, I can ask them. Now, of course, the biggest thing is, well, they're not going to understand the ramifications or the full understanding of what it means to post online. To be honest, until their frontal lobe is fully developed, they're not going to understand it. Until they're like 24, 25, or actually no, 25, 26 years old, they're not going to fully understand it. Just because someone doesn't fully understand it does not mean that we don't have discussions on it. So for instance, we have discussions, you have to have discussions around explicit picture sharing or explicit materials and content online. Their little brains are not going to fully understand what they're seeing. But when you're there to guide them through the process, then that allows them to have the most beneficial educational experience forever. And so as they grow older, they start to understand little bits and pieces as they go along. So it's not about them understanding everything fully. It's about you modeling the behaviors you want them to have, you modeling the importance of consent first with you, because consent starts in the household first, and you're modeling autonomy, you're modeling privacy and security and safety by asking them, no matter how young they are. But typically you want to start around 6 to 7 years old, school age, and you start from there. If you have never had this conversation with your kids and you're like, oh my God, I'm starting a little bit late. What do? You just go back and say, hey, look, I saw this video online. I've read a couple of articles. I saw this news story, and it made me realize that I've been not asking you before I shared pictures of you. And I really like some of the pictures, and I want to share it with my friends or family members that are a different state, different continent, different country. And I haven't been asking you for consent. I haven't been asking you if you're okay with me to share it. So I'm going to start asking you this question, and you can always tell me. I'm not going to be mad at you. I'm not going to love you any less if you say, hey, I don't want you to share that picture. And all you have to do is apologize in that moment, and it's full circle. Because remember, all we're doing here is modeling the behaviors you want your kids to have as they go through the online world. You want your child to understand what it means to be what they call like a good digital citizen, right? And so that is you modeling that. The other point is, I'm looking at my sheet so I don't forget everything. The other one is you most likely don't have safety features set up on your profile. So even if you have a private profile and you're sharing pictures of your kids in that private profile, do you have safety features, privacy features set up in that private profile? Because if you don't, then it may not be as safe as you think it will be, right? I've had a situation where actually a parent that I was working with, but also a parent that I saw online, say that their account got hacked. And not only did it get hacked, because everyone's account can be hacked, but the point of this particular circumstance was that person got into their photos, got into their messages, started downloading the photos through their messages, and started to figure out more information about their life and their child's life. And so that is a very scary situation to happen. Imagine you have a private profile, you're never sharing anything publicly about your family, about your kids, and then someone hacks into your profile and downloads all of your kids' pictures and says, hey, I know where your kid goes to school. I know where you live. I have pictures of your child. I can Photoshop them to look like something else. And this has happened. And so if you really want to have more of a holistic, big picture, but full understanding of protecting your child online, then you have to have a private, secure profile. Now, I'm not getting into if you're an influencer parent or your kids are influencers, because there are safe ways to post your kids online if you're in that circumstance. This is for parents that you want to share privately to the people that you love, the people that care about you, and you want to just provide updates or funny moments to connect over with your friends and family. If you're an influencer parent, it's a completely different ball game. You still have to post safely, but it may not be on a private profile, but some of pictures definitely need to be. But anyways, that's for another topic. The point is, no matter who you are, you have to secure your online accounts. You want to make sure you have good passwords. You want to make sure you have two-factor authentication. Does this mean that no one can ever do anything ever? No. It just makes it much more difficult for a predator, for a hacker to hack into your account, to gain information about you and your family, to find out where you live, to find out where your kids go to school. And so that is one of the things that most people don't realize you need to do, even if you're sharing pictures privately. So you might say, well, hey, I don't really share my pictures on social media. I share my pictures via like Google Photos or something. That's fine. That's great. But you don't want someone in your Google account. So is your Google account secure? Do you have secure passwords? Is it a unique password that you're not using anywhere else? Are you using something like a password manager, 1Password, for instance? Are you using two-factor authentication, like a two-factor authentication app? You can use Google Authenticator. You can use Microsoft Authenticator. And you can use dual mobile, right? So you can use different types of authentication. And essentially, a two-factor authentication is just, if you're not unfamiliar, is just two ways of authenticating to an account. So instead of it just having username, password, it's username, it's password, and then it's a one-time code that's only there for like 30 seconds or a minute. That adds more security to your account. So it's not easy for a hacker or a predator to get into your account just because it was easy to get into. So that's something that you have to do if you want to secure your child's photos. Now, not only do you want this on your account, but you want this on your teen's account as well. And so all of this information, I know it's a lot. I am hosting a masterclass on this called Smart Sharing, the do's and don'ts of posting your kids online. And the masterclass is $27. If $27 is a little stretch right now, you can get it for $9. If you want this, comment below, let me know. Or actually comment Safe Lens in the comments below, SAFELENS, or just say, hey, I want the masterclass. Whatever you do, I will send you the link. I think this is my first time going live via mobile. I think I can give you the links. If I can't, go ahead to my profile. There's something called like the Sleek in Bio, and you'll see the masterclass there. You can join the masterclass there. And then I'm also on other platforms. So that's where you can get that if you want some like comprehensive understanding. This is all to say that even if you are sharing pictures of your kids on a private profile, you still have steps you have to take to make sure that no matter what you're sharing, it's actually good, it's actually safe, and it's secure, and it's with privacy in mind. You still want to make sure that nothing in the background is giving up your location. Now, if you're like on vacation you're going to some place and there's like a marker, right? You're in Taj Mahal, you're at the how I can't even pronounce it right now. The Eiffel Tower. What is it? Why can't I pronounce it right now? My English is absolutely gone. But let's just say that you're on a landmark. It doesn't matter. Okay, you can post that picture after you leave the location. You're not going to be there forever. But if you live in that area, you don't want people to know that, hey, my family and I go for walks at this particular location. You still want to be mindful of what you have in the background. Another thing that a lot of parents get tripped up on is they're like, hey, like I don't share any pictures of my kids online. I'm totally fine. But then you go to their profile and they share pictures of themselves online. They share their morning run. They share where they get coffee every morning. They share where they go to yoga or Pilates. They share their work commute. There's a lot of things you might be sharing that leads back to you and your family, and you want to be mindful of that. The other thing I said is that you might have people in your friends list that you don't know, so you want to make sure that you're reviewing your friends list. And the last thing I put inside of this whole list that I posted on Instagram is that there's a good chance that you posted comments publicly that give information, too much information about you and your family. Like you might be oversharing. So let's just say that you follow an influencer and this influencer has a child that has autism, right? And they're going through like how I parent my child with someone who has autism, they're on the spectrum. And you might reply in the comments and you might go into very big, like a bunch of detail about what you're going through with your teenage daughter that has autism, or in the fact that she got diagnosed a little bit later and all of the challenges that are going on. That's a lot of information to post publicly for other people that you don't know. And so that's an example of oversharing unintentionally, innocently, trying to gain support. And when you're doing that, you have to be mindful of, okay, this is public. Like even though my profile is private, if I'm posting publicly on someone else's account, then that means that someone else can see this information. And if they go to my account or they search my name or they see things, they can put two and two together and figure out details about your children, about your family, where they go to school. Let's say that you follow your school accounts online and that's a public school account and they're posting pictures of your kids and you're applying to the comments. All of those things give a lot of information and detail about you, your family, and your kids. So again, as you can see in the past 13 minutes that I've been talking, that these are all examples of ways that you can overshare online even when you have a private profile, ways that you can inadvertently, innocently put your kids in line of danger when it comes to predators and hackers. So none of us are immune to something like this happening to our family, ourselves, our kids. Like you're not going to be immune to it. The point of this video is to show that just because you don't post your kids online doesn't mean you can be like, I'm great, I don't post my kids online, nothing can happen. You still want to be mindful about security, privacy, and safety. And if you do post your kids online, you have to be even more mindful because you're posting it publicly, because you're putting information about your kids online. It doesn't mean that it's inherently bad. To be honest, I don't believe it's inherently bad. There is a way that you can do it safely, you can do it securely. You just have to be mindful, you have to be aware of the risk, and you have to know the do's and don'ts, which is why I have the masterclass. So again, if you want to join in, type in the comments, hey, I want to join the masterclass, or just type safe lens in the comments below. I'll send you the link. And then if you're like, hey, like when does the masterclass happening? It's happening in 2 days, but the masterclass is just a live stream around me going over all of the resources, the checklist, the guides that I have already developed and is in development right now. So even if you missed the masterclass, you can watch the replay. There's a password protected portal that you can go into and you get emails about this, about the do's and don'ts of posting your kids online. So even if you're watching this a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 years from now, everything should be there and you still have the information. You can just watch it, read it, comment, listen to it whenever you want. And if you have any questions about anything that you see or hear or read, then you can comment and then you can ask your questions in the comments in the portal. in the live stream replay or in my emails, and I will be answering them for you. Again, my main mission is to help you protect your kids online, and that is one of the ways to give you support, to give you access, to give you more resources. A lot of this can be very confusing, it's very overwhelming. You're just like, what's going on? What's happening? How do I protect my kids? And I want to give you a space where you can get your questions answered. Now, what do you do if you're an influencer parent? Whether you are an influencer or your kids are influencers, there's a totally different ball game if you're like a business owner as well. I had a parent reach out to me, and she has a business. I believe it's like a diaper business or a business where I think it was two different people. I think one had a diaper business, and the second one had a business where she works with like children. I think it was like a clothing line or something like that. And so she posts pictures of her clients, the babies. The parents give the pictures to her, say, hey, like, I really love the diapers, or I really love these clothes, like, thank you so much. She gets permission, she posts it on her social media. And so she was asking me, oh my God, my entire business is posting kids online. Like, how do I make sure that I'm able to service my clients, I'm able to run my business, feed my family, but also make sure that I have privacy, security, and safety in mind? And so we talked about it a bit, and that was one of the reasons why I started the masterclass, because of that, because it's so nuanced. But one of the things that you want to be mindful of is, how can you showcase your business, showcase your product, showcase what you need to, but not put the child in danger and the parent in danger. The number one thing is consent, to be honest. That you don't want to take pictures or download pictures from your clients. Let's say your client really loved the thing that you did, and you're an influencer parent or a business owner parent, and you want to post it online. You have to ask your client first. You have to say, hey, thank you so much for the review. I'm so happy you had a positive experience. I would love to share this on my social media channels and on my website. Are you okay with that? And they have to be okay with that. And I'm not a lawyer, so don't come for me for legal advice or any legalese, but I'm pretty sure that you want to have some type of contract to say, hey, I'm able to use this. And then of course, if you're going to use it in ads, that's a whole other conversation. We're not going to get into that. The point is, you need consent. If you're a business owner and you're sharing pictures of other people's kids using your products, you need consent. Like, it's straight up inexplicable consent. Like, that's the parent said, absolutely, yes, you can share it. Second, you go through my list of the 13 pictures not supposed to have your kids online, and you look at the picture and you say, is there anything in the picture that's identifying to that child? Is there any way that I can cover up their face? Is there anything in the photo that does not need to be in the photo that I can take away? Because even if the parent says, hey, yes, you can post it for business reasons or whatever, you still want to take it out. If you're a parent yourself and you're posting a picture of your own child online, you still want to take that information out. Now, the best way to blur out a child's face is to use a blurring software. Using emojis is a great quick way to blur out, but it doesn't really often work. There are ways that people can take off the emoji from the child's face and then reveal the face. So if you're trying to maintain privacy, you can do that. If you're like a photographer or you're taking pictures of a child, you can figure out a really creative way, and I've used positive examples in the PDF before, creative ways that you can share that picture without sharing your child or the person's child's face. So you can get a little creative with that. But if you need to post your pictures of your kids or someone else's kids, those are the guidelines that you want to follow. And then also, you have to think about, like, okay, if you're an influencer parent, then how would this picture, how would this information, how would this video impact this child later on in their life? Right? Is this something that is going to be embarrassing? Is this something that can be used against them in a manner that is not, is this basically traumatizing? Is this something that can follow them for the rest of their lives? And am I prepared that if I have this photo up, if the child comes back or the parent comes back, or you decide or your child decides that, hey, I don't really want that picture there, are you ready to drop everything and delete everything? Because until your child comes to an age where they can start making decisions for themselves and they just start having things happen in their lives, they may want you to take certain photos down, but you're the one in the beginning that has to decide what photos stay up and what photos don't. When they're 3 years old, they don't really, you know what I mean? You really can't ask for consent, and they don't even know how they feel about it because they're 3 years old and they're going to the terrible threes, the terrible twos, right? They're going through things right now, so it's not like that. You know, their subconscious brain is the only thing that's operating right now. And so you have to make that decision for your child at that age. But come 13 years old, come 14, even come 9 years old, your child might have an opinion. And they see something on Instagram, they see something on Facebook, they see something somewhere else, and they want that taken down. And so you have to be in that space where you're like, you know what? Thank you so much for letting me know. I'm so sorry that that picture was up, and you take that picture down. And so those are the things you have to mentally prepare. So when I made the checklist around the pictures to not share of your kids online, the do's and don'ts of posting your kids online, is coming from a holistic point of view. What are you prepared to think? What are you prepared to do? What conversations are you prepared to have? What conversations have you had or have not had when it comes to posting your kids online safely and securely? So if you have any questions about anything that I said, leave them in the comments below. I'll come back, I'll answer them. This is my first time again doing like a YouTube live stream. I really love it. And I appreciate you so much for being here. My entire channel is about protecting your kids online. I have videos on protecting your kids on Roblox, on Minecraft, on Discord, on Snapchat, a bunch of other things. So go check out the videos, go share it with your friends and family members. And remember, I have a masterclass breaking down the do's and don'ts of posting your kids online and also teaching your children the same. So not just you knowing the information, but how do you have these conversations with your kids? The scripts that you can use to talk to your friends, to your family members, to your kids about this topic in a way that is not just like informative, but something where you're able to connect over, you're able to have discussions over. It's not just a one and done discussion. Again, I'm Cyber Farida. I'm an award-winning Forbes 30 under 30 internet safety expert. I have a background in cybersecurity awareness, threat intelligence, and online gaming. And my mission for you is to help you protect your kids online using my safe method of internet safety. Have an amazing day, and until next time, bye.